Mute yourself. So welcome back. So this is what is the chronology of development of the One Health. Today we are having a more matured kind of One Health, which is applied at the global level. Okay, at all levels. So let us enter into the let us peep into the very briefly about, into the One Health things. The beginning of the one medicine, it was started somewhere a long back. Okay, Pope Clement XI, he instructed his he's a pope, okay, religious leader, okay, to his physician. Who was the physician? Dr. Giviani Maria Lancisi, a very legendary figure. Okay, listen carefully. Okay, today we are having Lancisi's method of test and slaughter. Okay, Lancisi's method of test and slaughter that helped in the eradication of the diseases. Many diseases have been eradicated. Okay, locally. This Pope, he instructed his physician Lancisi to do something to the rinderpest, because rinderpest is killing the cattle and death of the cattle is leading to the shortage of the beef to the people and nutritional insecurity. Okay, you all know that rinderpest has been today eradicated from the earth globe. Okay, but it was affecting the food supply very, very, what you can say, negatively. It was affecting or impacting. So the Pope ordered the Lancisi, and Lancisi started test and slaughter method. Okay. Lancisi recommended that all ill and suspected animals must be destroyed. Any animal that comes with a lesion, with a symptom of rinderpest, you destroy that animal. And these principles were milestone in the disease management on the earth. Okay, except in India, where we have got a lot of taboos associated with cattle, a lot of emotional attachment. Rest all countries other than India, they go by this method only, and this is the most effective method of managing the contagious disease. Okay, except India. In the 19th century, again, this I talked about the Kurbitchaw's contribution. He told there should not be any line between the medicine and veterinary medicine. They have to work together. Okay. Rudolf Virchow, he studied several diseases. Okay, Rudolf Virchow was a physician. He worked on trichinellosis in pigs, tuberculosis, and cysticercosis. And after having studied all these diseases, then only he coined them. They are transmitted between man and the animals, and the term zoonosis was coined. Okay, and when he understood all these diseases, he told that there should not be any division between, any differentiation between the veterinary medicine or the human medicine. No line should be drawn. Okay, since Virchow's father was a butcher, okay, Rudolf Virchow's father was a butcher, he had lot many things to learn. Okay, in his own facility, because his father was a butcher. So many of the experimental things he identified, and because of that only he studied Trichinella spiralis. He studied cysticercosis and tuberculosis, and later on what we are getting today, the One Health, these inputs were due to his background. Okay, then came the Edward Jenner. Sir Edward Jenner was a physician. He learnt that those maids who were exposed to the cowpox did not get a severe form of smallpox that led to the development of a vaccine. Okay, you study vaccine, and he's regarded as a great personality with respect to vaccinology. Okay, but his inputs are in the one medicine. Okay, if he would not have observed that milkmaid protection, cross protection, probably he would not have invented this vaccination technology. Okay, that's the input of the One Health. That is the strength of the One Health. Understanding from one species and putting them across to the other species, they are the One Health principles. Okay, later on, work was on hog cholera, rickettsia, polio, all these diseases, and we have vaccine for these things. Okay, then this legendary figure, okay, he's regarded as a father of immunology. Okay, who? The great Louis Pasteur. He started his career as a chemist. He was a wine tester actually. Okay, in wineries, no, the quality testing used to be done by wine testing. So he was a wine tester. He had a degree in the chemical engineering, and you see that his intervention across the all the biological infectious agents. Okay, where is the chemistry, where is the biology, and he is regarded as father of immunology, where the antibodies, yes, humoral immune response, cell mediated immune response, that all occur within the uh, a hardcore biologist can only understand these mechanisms, and he's a father of that immunology, while his basic degree is in chemistry. Okay, linking medicine with veterinary medicine, efforts have been done by the legendary Louis Pasteur. Okay, this man, Robert Koch, a German physician, human doctor. Okay, lot of contributions made to the way to the field of bacteriology by the German physician. Let it be tuberculosis, Vibrio cholerae, anthrax, and for his work for this medicine, okay, he was awarded the Nobel Prize. Okay, and this man also did not distinguish between the veterinary medicine and the human medicine. When these Nobel laureates and all these great fathers, so-called as philosophers, when they don't discriminate between the fields, who are we to discriminate? Okay, that is a basic question that we should keep it in our mind always. Okay, Sir William Osler. Sir William Osler was a student of Rudolf Virchow. Okay, we just see his journey. He started his journey as a physician, a Canadian physician in Canada. Okay, he went to Germany and studied under his guru Rudolf Virchow, and he started the field of veterinary pathology as an academic discipline in North American universities. And he is also one of the pioneer of the one medicine what we talk today. Okay, a physician, and you clearly see it, Canadian physician establishing veterinary pathology in medical schools. So One Health principles, they cut across with the disciplines, and they bring about something which is very much useful to the mankind or other species life and well-being on the planet Earth. This great man, Sir Theobald Smith. Okay, Smith worked with F.L. Kilbourne. They were the first to identify the role of the arthropod as a vector. So, lot many things. Okay, Boophilus transmission of Babesia bizamina in cattle was for the first time it was detected by Theobald Smith. Okay, and based on these observations, okay, Walter Reed found the vector of the yellow fever. Okay, see the inputs from veterinary and medical. Okay, that's what we say, disease is same in the population, species are only different, so why are you differentiating? That's what is the work of Theobald Smith, the Kilbourne and Walter Reed speaks about, and it signifies us to work under these principles. This man, of course. Okay, this is what you find in my profile also, Sir William Kelvin, Sir Kelvin W. Schwabe. So he was in India, as I told you, along with J.S. Steele. Okay, one of the legendary person, as I told you earlier, he's the person who started the CDC in America. Okay, they have enormously contributed to the discipline of veterinary epidemiology, and they promoted the concept of one medicine for the one world. Okay, for the one world we require one medicine, and these principles are indeed, they are the One Health principles. Okay, so when we say the health, okay, we always say the optimal wellness as a health. I have already defined the health. When health is compromised, when a body is not having health, it is said to be dead. Okay? Optimal wellness, disease, death. This is what is the category. Okay? So health, it starts from, if you exclude the death, okay, if you keep optimal wellness at the top, so somewhere health oscillates between this. Okay, so it is having three dimensions that we have discussed: the physical, mental, and social well-being. And there is an environmental component also that is associated. When we say social environment, the uh, social health, social environment is also very important. Okay, so let us go back into the mankind and the maladies or the diseases that affected the mankind. So 1918 and 1919 Spanish flu, it has affected 50 to 100 million people of the earth. Okay, 1990 to 2000 we had severe acute respiratory syndrome, highly pathogenic avian influenza, the swine flu, H1N1, all these global threats that affected the human populations. Okay, likewise we have Ebola, we have Marburg, we have somewhere in between the anthrax episode, Crimean Congo hemorrhagic fever. Okay, and today we are talking about the SARS-CoV-2. Okay, all of them have put the human health at risk. Okay, and probably because of these such kind of infections, we are talking on a distant mode, what we call it as an online mode. Otherwise I would have taken this class by seeing your face on offline mode. Okay, out of all these 1415 human pathogens, 62 are having the origin in the animals. Okay, and 75% of these organisms or the infectious agents are having origin in the animals. So until and unless we work together under One Health principles, it is not possible to manage these diseases. Again, these all animal infections, let it be BSE in UK alone, that caused $7 billion loss. SARS, 40 to 50 billion loss in the Canada and East Asia. Okay, different estimates, they speak about different figures. Okay, 50 billion. Okay, in Kenya, one country, small country, $32 million were lost due to Rift Valley fever. So that's what is the importance of these diseases and the economic effect associated with these dreaded zoonotic diseases, emerging infectious diseases. And until and unless different health professionals, different sectors, they join hands together, management of such infections is not possible. Okay, when we talk about the diarrheal diseases, way back in 2005, World Health Organization told that there are 1.8 million people who die of diarrheal diseases. Okay, especially children, about 5 lakh children annually they get affected with the diarrheal diseases, with the predominance of Escherichia coli, Salmonella, Campylobacteriosis, Vibriosis, likewise. Okay, so foodborne infection alone in USA, 35 billion loss that is incurred. Okay, when we talk about the safe food supply chain, okay, with these foodborne infections and intoxications, they matter a lot. Okay, that is why all these global agencies, let it be World Health Organization, the FAO, the OIE, all of them, they join hands together with One Health organization such as One Health Initiative, the One Health Commission, the Eco Health Alliance, and other countries. Okay, so why now, when One Health was so important, why it was that much emphasized previously than it is being emphasized today? I mean to say, why your teachers, for example, me, when I was studying, it was emphasized to me by my teachers. And my teachers, when they were studying in their BSc degree, why they were not taught this much emphasis? And why their teachers, our grand teachers, they did not teach this much in emphasized way? So why now? The question is, the populations are growing. Okay, human being is increasingly damaging the environment through contamination, pollution. All natural resources are affected with. Okay, there is a climate change, deforestation, extensive invasion of the forest, increase the human animal contact, increase the global travel. Just imagine covid-2. Okay, somewhere in the December there was a peak in the Wuhan province in China, covid this SARS-CoV-2. By the time March or April, it spread to the globe, including India, and it is killing at the rate of almost 10,000 a day. That is the enormity of such infection. Okay, and why and how it has happened due to the increased global trade. If there would not have been any movement to the China, probably the disease would have been contained there. So that is why One Health is more pertinent these days than the previous days. Okay, and many sectors, I talked about many sectors. Okay, you can read through the One Health Commission website, same thing is there. Okay, veterinarian, physician, nurse, health worker, wildlife scientist, ecologist, the social scientist, the engineers, the public health people, the politicians. Okay, it's not there. Okay, politicians, all of them, because until the political support is there, how can you implement your activity? You want to do something and there is no monetary provision for that, so all of them working, this is what we call it as a One Health team. Okay, there must be coordination, there must be communication, and there must be collaboration between these sectors, those sectors that take care of the human health, those sectors that take care of the animal health, those sectors that take care of the environmental health. So when they do this, the three C's, what is that? Number one C, coordination. Number two C, communication. And number three, collaboration. These are all very vital for any institution to grow. Say, for example, we are running a veterinary college here in Hassan. Public health won't speak to microbiology. Microbiology won't speak to pathology. Pathology, public health, microbiology together won't speak to medicine. Can we reach the farmers? Okay, we have to identify our activities, we have to coordinate, communicate, collaborate, then only we can achieve a goal. Otherwise, working in isolation will not serve the purpose. Okay. Come to the food safety. Food safety, consequent to the emergence and re-emergence of the infectious agents, we call in food safety terms as a hazards. Hazards are of two types. Number one is microbial hazards. Okay, microbial hazards means the organisms themselves that otherwise cause the disease, or the toxins of the organisms, of these organisms. So food safety, when we talk about, so the various aspects of food safety, so they affect the health of the people. That's why we have to undertake the risk analysis, okay, about these things. And when we talk about disease such as rabies, the different people have their different roles to play, and synergistic effect we call them as the One Health. Okay, next is what we need in One Health is accelerating the biomedical research. Okay, we want the enhanced public health efficacy. We want expeditiously expanding scientific knowledge base. We have to know more, then only we can give more. Okay, so improving medical education and clinical care. Okay, it is a clinical perspective, a medical perspective. I can say that all health departments, they work together. Okay, then only we can achieve that. Okay, several organizations in the globe, they have endorsed One Health as an activity. And if at all you want to control the zoonosis or the bioterrorism, One Health principles are the only way by which we can deal with. Okay, so several organizations, they are working hand in hand to in various countries to deal with the problems. Okay, the problems that can only be, such as they say, for example, problem associated with antimicrobial resistance, the problem associated with the environmental pollution or contamination. So all these problems can only be addressed by the One Health principles. And using this, we can predict the occurrence of a new disease, we can protect the wildlife, and we can promote the global trade. Okay, just to conclude, you can see here, okay, this famous cartoon, science cartoon it is. The first time one of them sneeze, cut the rope. Okay, all birds are kept here. The moment it was at the face of the bird flu outbreak. Okay, when there was a bird flu outbreak, even if a single bird sneezes, you cut that so that you remove that population. That was the, it is the cartoon, just to protect. Okay, just to protect rest all which are there in the other boat. It's a cartoon. So let us take in other words, we are sailing in a boat. Each one of us, we have to contribute equally so that our activity is balanced and we move in a single direction. Then only the one health principles can be implemented. So working in segregation, fragmentation is not going to help in any way. Okay, so one health is the order of the day and we need to do on this. So this is all about the today's class. So thank you one and all. So without wasting much time, you can enter the next class.